All right, what's going on, everyone? We're back on the second edition of the vlog. My name's Rajan Taylor.
And I'm Ralph, right?
All right, so what's going on, Ralph?
Um, I mean, going over our last um, meeting, something stuck with me, and I wanted to carry it over basically to this one, kind of the same theme, but peace within the storm.
Okay,
I think understanding the season that we've been in or that we've experienced this year, I think it's beneficial to at least touch on that as we spoke about medium-sized businesses being dolphins and or choosing to be a shark and how to maneuver in the water. I think understanding peace in the storm, it could not necessarily determine what you are or what type of business you have, but I think it helps you navigate throughout anything that happens. Like we could use COVID as an example, but a lot of businesses have different types of storms along the way. So I want to focus more so on talking about the peace within than the storm of a
got
business.
it. I like it, and it's like pretty much to change the word slightly, navigating, because and I like that a lot because when you're looking to navigate, there's roadblocks everywhere, there's unknowns everywhere, and then you're trying to figure out like how to create a form of peace while navigating. So like it makes perfect sense. So um in regards to, it's funny, my mind's sitting there thinking about like navigation, and for those before the technology boom hit, I remember having my maps. So I traveled a lot. I've traveled a lot in my life. And I remember AAA had a program where I would go to them and they would put together my trip itinerary, and I'd have all of these different maps for the different city. Like they would actually print out like this kind of pamphlet, and
Yeah.
it would literally give me like my directions on how to navigate through all of these various states. And
Yes.
like I would have been lost without it, or I would have had to have just one big huge United States map to be able to navigate. But I think of like AAA back in those days, and man, I feel sorry for them because like once the technology came, their entire business model had to shift. But that is a perfect example of like navigation and from a actual navigation standpoint, but also to a business. What I
Yes.
mean by that is AAA as a business, their business has changed.
Hmm.
It's not the same anymore, and it's
Hmm.
because once the technology boom came, I know they were still holding on to the way that they used to do business.
Yes.
Unfortunately, once the technology move came,
You had to change.
you
You
have to
have to change.
change.
You have to.
So it's like crazy that you brought that up, and then that story came into my mind. It shows like if you try to hold on to this way of doing business that you felt is like this is the way to do business, and you're not paying attention to the entire world around you, your
Yeah.
business can be consumed. You're not going to have peace. You're not going to have the ability to think, and you're
No.
going to be drowning in deep water.
And because you're not going to know who you are, you're not
You're
going
going
to
to
know
have
what the
no
business.
clue. You have no relevance, or you have no foundation to stand on.
You're gonna be a dolphin, but trying to smell or look for blood, and it's completely different. It's not gonna really work for you.
Right, you're just gonna be so confused. So,
It's
like,
it.
what do you think are things that businesses can do, that are listening or watching this vlog? Like, what do you think that are things that they can do to help themselves navigate?
I think what we mentioned it before last week a little bit, but we didn't really dig too deep into it. Is but engulf yourself in your business, in your area of expertise, because the benefit of, and I'll use this as an example because just like you said with AAA used to provide those maps, right? As one business was going down, another business was coming up, but they were serving the same industry. What
Hmm.
business was that? Well, first it started out with Google giving us
Hmm.
MapQuest. So MapQuest, what did they do? They provided us turn by turn. All we had to give them was the address where we were going, and the address where we're starting, and the address where we're going. And we literally had turn by turn directions. So we literally went from the map being provided to printing out the map to that then being digitalized, all
Mhm.
within less than 10 years.
Right. That happened fast.
And it happened real fast to the point where MapQuest isn't even one of the number one GPS systems.
Mhm.
And you would think they had to jump on everybody.
Yep.
They said, "Oh, AAA, you're providing this. All right, well, we're going to cut that out, and now you're going to be able to access this for free." Oh, well, now let's see what then we can do. All right, well, let's get GPSs. Well, let's in the midst of 12 years, we went from GPS to your phone being GPS. So
Mhm.
how do you adapt? As you look in your area and your area expertise, you should always be looking to grow. You should always be looking to add on, but you should have a keen sense of what's behind you and what's in front of you, because you
Whew.
want to find your pocket. And
Mhm.
when you find your pocket and you're moving in that air pocket, as the storm comes, you're you're able to see the storm. So for those that's wondering, I live in Florida. So the key parts about living in Florida, what's a great thing about living in Florida, is you can see a storm before it comes. You literally can see the rain. It's not the clouds that you have to worry about, but it's the rain. So you can see the rain coming down. So you already know how to maneuver and how to address what's coming. You can prepare for it. So as a business, you want to have an idea of what's coming up in the future. Sometimes it's going to be a random storm or a random rain shower, but if you prepare with the right knowledge, you're going to be able to maneuver the right way.
Yep, you are spot on. And one of the things that I want to go over is how to prepare. So a lot of times businesses they're like, okay, like I get it, I understand that, I understand to look for the storm, but how do I prepare? So one of the easiest things to do is pay it. When I say pay attention to your market, I'm going to give you a pinpoint example. So I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning last night. I had some crazy migraines yesterday where I really didn't get a lot of work done during the day, but I ended up working till 2 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because I run businesses and I got to roll up my sleeves and I got to get done. So in that process, I came across this article. I'm sorry, I saw an article about a robot going down a grocery store aisle, and it was kind of talking about this new way of supply chain. Later in my feed, I saw a cleaning company that is now talking about they just brought their first robot in.
Mm-hmm.
So I forwarded that message to the United Partnership Business Alliance group. Which anyone who's watching this, if you want to be a part of it, we'll put the link in the description, not in the description, in the body of this, and you just click on it and join if you want to. But in that Business Alliance group, I put that article in there, and I was talking about the industry and I was talking about the market. So in regard understand the storm and understand your market, what you want to be able to do is pay attention to what you see and what you read about and the changes within those markets to then be able to be like, ah, that's the future. So perfect example now. There, and I'll use cleaning companies because I was looking at it. I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I did that article for a cleaning company.
Mm-hmm.
You have a company. It's a very labor intensive, it's not the highest profit margin industry, but you can have a business that could be profitable if you are able to manage your money and manage your labor along with whatever customers that you have to offset your labor cost. And as long as you control your indirect spend. Um, but that's not enough because now we see that robots are getting ready to start cleaning office buildings. So if you have a robot looking to clean an office building and you're a janitorial company, maybe if you're looking to get into the janitorial business, you don't start on side. Maybe you look to bridge your gap by understanding the technology that's already starting to come in place and kind of understand where that technology is at and where that technology could be moving within the business to see if it's a viable option or not, and then build your business around that. that's already future proofing your business because you're already looking ahead of the storm. Because
Yeah.
what's going to happen is, and I mentioned this in the body of my message that I forwarded, that and I'm just using the cleaning companies because I just did it last night.
Mhm.
For a cleaning company, there's most likely in the future going to be layoffs because these robots are now cleaning office buildings.
Mhm.
There's going to be a lot of very key managers and directors in these companies that are going to be like, what do I do now? Imagine the cleaning company that's smart enough to not look to just hire labor hours, but
Mhm.
they
But
look to connect themselves with the managers and directors out there and say, hey, look, I'm forming, or I have a cleaning company. Your services or your expertise is needed. Let's look to future proof the cleaning company by understanding what's going on, because a robot is only going to be able to do so much. There's going to have to be a human component on the backside of that robot to keep things going. What's going to happen is the technology industry is only looking at automating the
right.
space, not understanding the human component that's going to be needed. So again, Ralph just talked about that. I wanted to give you a pinpoint example of how to look through the storm. So I
We
kind of spoke a lot there, but I wanted to break that down.
no worries, because to piggyback off that and give an example of companies that didn't, you could look at Blockbuster when
Right,
Netflix was coming. So
right.
you could look at all the different Radio Shack. You could look at all of these companies 10, 15 years ago were at the height
They were
of who they
killing it.
were,
Mhm.
right? And they all had opportunities to make certain transitions because for us, these are companies that were considered companies of the future.
Mhm.
You couldn't tell us 10, 15 years ago that these companies wouldn't or would either be on the brink of not existing, or they would be new companies with new names and doing twice as more than what we could imagine.
Yep.
I've experienced personally a company that literally was around for 50 years, but they wouldn't change
Mhm.
throughout the time. So they were, by the time that they were, when I got in there and I saw that they were hemorrhaging, they were still trying to live off of the 50 years ago
Yep.
versus, all right, well, it's not about what happened 50 years ago. Where's everything going?
Mhm.
You already have the tools to be future proof. How can you utilize those tools and kind of what can you step away from?
Mhm.
What can you let go? And a lot of times businesses marry these ideas and they get stuck with them. And it's like, it's okay to let certain things go in order to grow. And a
Yep.
lot of businesses sometimes are afraid to let that go.
That's right. And it's so crazy because, and that's where like I like in our vlog, like I never want to talk about like united partnership because it's not something that I'm interested in doing. The next thing that I'm about to say is just for like consultant and advisory businesses as a whole. That's where consultant and advisors are able to really help people, because if you're a consultant or advisor out there and your whole focus is helping your customers be able to future proof themselves, hats off to you, because that's what the world needs. Unfortunately, what happens in the consulting and the advisory world is somebody is kind of helping them understand like what this person did previously to make them successful. That's not really doing anything in regards to future proofing your business. You're going to gain some insights for sure because that person was successful enough to be able to start a company, and you're going to pay for some of that experience. It's all about future proofing.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things I'll look at is I'll use boar's head. Boar's head's meat. I'll leave it at that. Everyone, well, not say everyone, but I love Boar's Head's meat. Great business. Been around since 1905. So here's a business that's been around since 1905, and they are still dominating the meat market. Quality, just delicious meats.
Mhm.
And even though the meat world has moved, there's a lot of technology that's starting to happen in the meat world. They are still just riding on top of that wave. Why?
Mhm.
Because they were smart enough not just be like, okay, well, we make good meat and we're going to just continue to make good meat and we're going to just beat on our chest because we make good meat. No, they said we need to innovate. We need to figure out a better supply chain logistics. We need to figure out better manufacturing processes. We need to spend money where it needs to be spent to get our manufacturing facilities to be more efficient, but not losing out on the flavor and the taste palette that people are used to. They had to, like, if you look at manufacturing on the meat side, it's a completely different world. Everything's computerized. People do that, so they may not realize it. So that's a perfect example of a business that's been around since 1905, still dominating the game. They could
Yes.
have been like Blockbuster and be like, nope, we this is our manufacturing process practices. This is what we do, and that's it. No, they're like, we got to innovate. Now,
Mhm.
there's a difference between me and digital because obviously we're in a digital age right now. But
Mhm.
Blockbuster had it. Like, remember Ralph? Like, I mean, Blockbuster was killing it. They were
Friday nights.
killing it,
Friday
and they
nights,
did
your
not want to
Blockbuster pizza.
adopt to digital age.
Nope. And then,
And then that just and Netflix took over.
and Netflix wanted them to buy them.
Right. That's
Netflix wanted, and it wasn't. I want to be clear too. It wasn't just Netflix that took Blockbuster out the game. It was a variety of Netflix and Redbox.
right.
Then Blockbuster purchased. I think they purchased Redbox, but it was a little bit too late by then.
Mhm.
So I mean, when you put it in the sense, you're not gonna. It's not just gonna be one company that's
That's right.
that's doing or that's offering something that you're missing. It's usually going to be two that's going to simplify what you're doing.
Yep.
So you have to have your finger on the pulse and understanding with your finger on the pulse. One thing I want to bring up because you mentioned it is that quality over marketing all day,
All day
all
long.
day. Because if businesses can provide quality customer service, if they can provide a quality product, I'm going like those two things is going
And
to be
then
your
quality
best marketing.
service too for the service industry.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, and if you can provide all of those things, and quality being the main, quality will get you through any storm.
Yep.
Consistency with your quality is going to help you manage any potential storm that's coming.
Yep.
Understanding, so if you also put that same quality in understanding what's ahead, what happened in the past, have that balance in the middle, that
Hmm.
that that one quality is going to continue to maintain. That's going to create a different type of loyalty. That's going to have a business that was started in 1905 still be relevant in 2020,
Hmm.
right? And beyond. Not just so it's I think I'm not sure if we mentioned it before off or on camera, but in business, not just in business and life, as you're continue, you should always be growing.
Hmm.
If you're not growing or if you're not looking to grow, that's when death starts to happen.
Yep. Yep. And
So,
it's so crazy how there's so many businesses so like the startup industry is like crazy right now because especially with this um, um, the changes that have happened in our societies across the world has created situations where people are like, I either don't have a job or I see the writing on the wall with my company.
mhm,
So that brought in a whole new onslaught of businesses into the system. The system already had a ridiculous failure rate. So now that failure rate is going to be even more compound because more people are coming into the system and they really created a business out of sheer desperation.
mhm,
But what's going to happen is out of that sheer desperation, there's going to be some businesses that are going to skyrocket to the top because they're focusing on future proofing. They're focusing on quality. They're
mhm,
focusing on understanding their market by not just looking at what they're doing, but
mhm,
looking at their industry as a whole. What happens is, guys and girls out there, men and women out there, it's you don't have to pay for a lot of this stuff. You go on LinkedIn, do a Google search, and you'll be able to look at, like, say, well, I'm staring at my server. What actually, I won't use that because that's a big one. I don't know. Let's see the calculator market. There's always a room for improvement and innovation. This calculator right here, this thing has been around since the beginning of time, but yet when it comes to math, when it comes to people still use that, even though there's all of these computers that do everything, still have a scientific calculator because and the Texas Instruments, they just know what they're doing. They've been making quality since the beginning of time. They've now got themselves so well known within the industry that people just know. Like, I remember there used to be like Sharp, there used to be all of these different brands. Texas Instruments, like, nope, we dominate this market. But they didn't just sit on being cocky of dominating the market. They had to keep finding ways to innovate to the point where they literally are just on top of it. And this is for something like a calculator.
What people don't also know, and I'm gonna get this little tidbit about Texas Instrument, they also are the manufacturers for the bulbs in a lot of mini projectors.
I did not know that.
So
So that right there just shows, like,
they're more than just calculators.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so businesses out there, you have to have a diversified portfolio. Very, I don't even call it a fancy word because middle-sized businesses that are going to watch this, you're like, obviously, you know that. But there are small businesses out there that they don't understand. So for this segment, sorry, just listen a little later and you'll pick up some more tidbits. But for small businesses out there, think of your business as kind of like the stock market. Would you put all of your money into one stock and just hope and pray that it's going to do right? No, you're not going to do that. Your financial advisor or even your, if you're an E-Trade type person, even E-Trade is going to be like, yeah, that's not very smart. You don't put all your chips in one basket. So take those chips, break that bag, sprinkle them a bunch of different places, figure out of those different places where you can gather some matter, and then pull those chips together around that matter and get after it.
Yep. And it just shows you, because that's the one thing, because I was amazed when I found that out, that they basically cornered the market for the bulbs and projectors. So it's one of those where they saw a need before it even happened.
Yep.
At this time when I found that, like, there weren't that many mini projectors. There weren't that many portable projectors. But guess what? If you want to get that replaced, you're gonna have to go through Texas Instrument, or you're gonna have to buy a new projector. So and they cornered it where it's you get this many hours. It's this many. You get anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 hours, but you're also getting so many lumens. So then it's understanding that. So that's more than just what you did with a calculator.
Yep.
So businesses should. I know it's crazy because a lot of people think or say, oh no, you need to be this, you need to be this. You can be multiple things in one niche.
You have to be multiple things in one niche.
Because you have to be able to provide that service. And a lot of people are like, well, this market's flooded. No, there's no such thing as a flooded market, to the sense of, yes, this person provides the same service, but what do you do differently? What stands out? We all have different fingerprints.
Ooh, tell them.
So understanding what makes you, what's your purpose behind what you do is what's going to differentiate your services, your quality. There's a long list of, we could sit here and discuss for hours. That will set a business apart. So that's small and that's medium businesses alike. Like, understand you're like, there's only one you. Yes, another business can come in, do something similar, but they can't be you. And that's one thing businesses, oftentimes small businesses, forget, because they're so busy looking at, oh, but I want this. Nah, forget the numbers and the projection of the numbers and what you're trying to do right now, and understand who you are, your market, and what you do best. Yeah. Because if what you do best in your market, that's going to catapult you in levels and areas that you haven't even thought about.
Yep.
So but it's not you. But understand, you're either going to be a shark or a dolphin.
Yep. Man. See, and this is what I love about like this, because it's like so like we love business, as you could tell. Like we could talk about this all day long, which is the reason why we decided to have a vlog, because it's like it's a very quick, easy way. So think about it. We help businesses run their companies, and then I own businesses. So for me, day I don't have a lot of time to spread out doing a bunch of different things, but somehow I've managed it because I know how important it is for the future of the industries in which I'm in. For us
Mhm.
to get on a call, we've been talking for a little bit, but for us to record this segment, however long it's going to be, 20, 30 minutes, and then all we got to do is literally put a title on the top of it, save it, upload it, and we're done. Talking about efficiency, and then it's giving something that can help people actually be able to run their business. Like this is love, and we're just trying to help people any way that we possibly can, help them understand that like this business world, even though it's crazy and even though there's a lot of moving pieces, it does not have to be difficult, because Ralph said it best. We all have our own fingerprint. We all have our own personalities. What happens is too many people spend time focusing on not themselves and focusing on who they are and what they can bring to the market. They're too busy focusing on following these trends and thinking that these trends are going to be the next best thing. You may have a business that could be the next best thing because of a trend.
Mhm.
It's very rare. That's not normal. The normalcy is people who understand their fingerprints, and they're able to identify that those fingerprints and that personality that they have can do more for them than anything else, because no one else can replicate that. Every single person has their own fingerprint. So Ralph, that was incredible.
And then just to close out on that one too, what people forget is that we have 10 fingers.
Right, right.
Each finger does something different. It
That's
has its
right.
own job. So understand that even in business, like you can be more than one,
Yes,
but
you can.
understand the fist is a lot stronger when it comes together.
Yep. Yep. So, and one of the main things that I want to make sure that people understand, and we don't do anything we don't discuss politics. Y'all even see my shirt. This isn't a Republican shirt. This is a Libertarian shirt. So, matter of fact, if you see this Libertarian shirt out there, you may want to go get one,
Yes,
because
sir.
we're talking about less politics and more smoke, baby. But anyway, when he's talking about the 10 fingers, like you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your business. You owe it to your family. You owe it to your loved ones to not put yourself in a box and then try to figure out, I'm going to own this box. The world is too big. The internet is never ending. There's always going to be something that pops up. So why put yourself in a box? You want to niche down, but don't niche down into a business idea. Niche down into your personality, because when you work within your personality and you align that personality with a business, whoo, you can create endless revenue for yourself, because you're always staying true to who you are. When you start to step outside of that, that's where the market. That I don't want to just beat down on marketers, but I mean, what do you think they're there for? Because you don't know who you are, so you're paying this money to someone to help explain who you are. You have to make X amount of dollars to turn a profit. Why don't you wait until you know who you are, and then align yourself with the proper marketer that represents who you are, and you two together go dominate the world? There's a
Yes.
difference there.
And just to give a little bit on that, it is okay to not know who you are.
You're right.
It is
Absolutely.
it is okay to not know who you are, because you know how some people are, where oh no, you need to find yourself, and now they're gonna spend the next 4 or 5 years trying to find themselves. Like, you, if you have it, go, and don't be afraid to continue to. You always We're constantly evolving. We're constantly growing. We're constantly in progress. So because of that, hey, your start today with what you have, and continue to find you. Continue to
Hmm.
find you. Continue to grow. Because that, guess what? You're gonna find things about you. You're gonna find things about your business that might have been hidden.
Hmm.
And then next thing you know, it's sprouted because you have that seed was already planted years ago or was planted months ago. So just continue to be in progress, because if you continue to be in progress, great things will happen.
Yep.
Great things will
And
happen.
so, and when you think about it, we're talking about navigating. We're talking about peace and navigation. So everything that we're talking about, you may not even realize, pinpoint on the subject. Everything is about navigation. Everything we've already communicated being in the deep water. We've already talked about peace in the water. Now you got to navigate. So now you're looking and you realize, like, okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on around here. Like the world is nuts. And I'm
Mhm.
going to make sure people understand the world is never going to be the same again. Do not think that after this, because it's not a pandemic. It's not. You already seen the numbers across the world. Like it's a situation that we're dealing with that people are going to find a solution around, and then something else is going to happen. It's just the way the world. Plus, it's an election year, so pay attention. But not going into that, you're always having to understand that when you're needing to navigate and knowing that our world will never be the same again, it's not. Don't don't think that, okay, this is just a period of time and then we're going to go back. No, nothing
Solution.
ever goes back.
Yes,
So
got to look
complete,
for a
and
solution.
that's why I'm saying this to you guys with so much like veracity in my voice, because the world is not going to go back to the way it was. There's going to be
Mhm.
this new norm that happens. I don't know. No one knows what it's going to be, but there's certain books that kind of help you understand the future, but that's a subject for another day. But it's not going to be the same. So
Mhm.
you owe it again to yourself, you owe it to your loved ones, you owe it to your family members to not focus on the past. Now, what you can take from the past to help you with the future is navigation.
Yes, you said it. You
That's
said it. Thank
right. But yeah, so I think for this one, Ralph, I want you to close us out, man, because like this has been a really good conversation. You have any last thing to say to people out there?
you. I mean, like I just said, like you just said, continue to be in progress. Not just continue to be in progress, but look out. Like, learn how to navigate. Put that time. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. You owe it to your loved ones. You owe it to any and everybody that has invested any type of great energy into you.
Hmm.
So continue to be locked in, focused, and be great.
Yep. And then one of the things that I'll leave off on in regards to that focus, um, make sure that you're putting focus time on a calendar, because what happens is when you may watch this and you're gonna be like, man, okay, like I'm hearing some things, I'm seeing some stuff. They've made a lot of for instances where I can put all of these for instances together to see that I need to navigate. Like you're gonna watch this and be okay, yep. But don't be the person where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to go, and then like an hour later you're scatterbrained over here because X, Y, and Z is going on. Put it on your calendar. Even take 30 minutes, even take 10 minutes a day on your calendar and put focus time. And during that focus time, what you're doing is deep diving into yourself, understanding your industry, understanding what's going on around you, and just and attaching that to things that you love. So maybe take a sheet of paper, or if you're an electronic person, put it into notes, and title that bad boy "What I Love," and literally just keep putting in this until the come anymore. What happens is you're going to look at this document that you've created, and it's going to be a bunch of stuff that you love. Take
Hmm.
what you love and apply it to your business and apply it to your personal self. You're going to find out very quickly. You just came up with a business plan. You may have just come up with an idea. You may have come up with an innovation strategy. I guarantee you're going to find something out that is going to help propel you in your joy. It's going to help propel you with your relationships. It's going to prepare you with your business. I guarantee you. If I'm wrong, we'll put the contact link in here. And if I'm wrong, send the contact and be like, hey, you were wrong. If I'm wrong, I will ship you some shirts. So, okay. So that's what we'll do if I'm wrong. So, all right. Ralph, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you in the next one, man.
Always a pleasure, man.